Tuesday edition of Morning Spring is here, and good morning to you all there. Thank you always for always being with us right here on your station of choice. Western Spring Television, channels 190 on the DTT on Star Times. That's where we are, and we want to thank you every day, 247, for always being here with us. We are super excited. How was your night? Hope you had a restful night. But yeah, I did. Very, very restful. I welcome you on behalf of the entire transmission team to another splendid day, and it promises to be exciting. Today is the D-Day. What do I mean? The Nigerian Labour Congress have called on that strike action a warning strike. 2 days warning strike. We'll get into that very, very shortly. Today, IDOWU is my name at Irresistible TD on X. And I want to welcome my dear brother as well. Good morning, Fred.
All right. Good morning, Tunde.
Morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. This is the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television, your darling station that says is as it is. This program runs every weekday. This is where we discuss policies, politics, governance, issues of public importance, trending and topical issues. That's what we do here at this time, 7 a.m. And please do well to follow us on all our social media platforms. And we are live right now on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Thank you. My name is FEMI Ojo. We welcome you. And today is quite, just like you said, is today and tomorrow, actually. Two things. One is underway. Oh, okay, maybe we need clarification. That's the 2-day warning strike from the Nigeria Labour Congress being called for last week. And then will it go ahead? Will it not go ahead? We are keeping tabs with the development happening. There wasn't any contrary instruction to that yesterday. But then maybe, just maybe, things might change or things might not. But we are here to discuss why the labor are saying they are going on that strike. And let's clarify that it has been said that it is a strike. It is not a protest. So it's just like down tooling, not going to work to press home their demands, which is about the welfare of NLC rather. And their members, still Nigerians. Yeah. These are the issues. 5th and 6th, that's today and tomorrow, warning strike. And then, very importantly, in the annals of our nation, it has been said, the circular or the memo is out, that the Presidential Election Tribunal will be giving its verdict tomorrow. And so many persons are, for some, anxious, for some excited, for some just expectant, for some maybe indifferent, whatever part of the divide that you belong. All we want to say is by tomorrow, when the verdict is being given by Melot, please make sure you do everything within the confines of the law. Yeah. The law is still the law. Absolutely. If it swings towards you, favors you, fine. If it doesn't, you have your day in court again till it gets to the Supreme Court, and it will be final. And after that, if you are still not, comfortable with that, you can tell God. That's the only thing to do, But then many persons are waiting to see what happens, and it's between majorly the All Progressive Congress, and the candidate is the incumbent President Bola Tinubu. The Labour Party is there with Mr. Peter Obi. Of course, the PDP. With his candidate, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and of course the APM, the Allied People's Movement. These three, the APC is the one, answering the case now from these three other political parties. But then all the best to Nigeria. That's my own point of view. Let Nigeria prosper. Let our institutions do what they have to do. With integrity, especially, as some people are saying, all lies on the judiciary. But then election tribunal, especially the Presidential Election Tribunal, this is not just the first one. We've had it before. So this is not new to these men and women of integrity sitting on that early exalted institution. So we expect them, everybody expect them to do what is right. And, we need to say it as well that they shouldn't be harassed. They shouldn't be cowed. Nobody should bully them. Yeah. They just must do what is right within the confines of the law. We're going to be looking majorly at the labor demands, the strike, and looking at different states, what is happening there. Today.
Yeah, and one landmark history happened yesterday in Lagos, the Blue Rail.
Yes.
Wow, it was beautiful. I'm actually looking forward to taking a trip on that, the Blue Rail. And that was good.
That's quite significant,
It will decongest the roads to a large extent.
In fact, when the governor was the first person to take a ride, seeing him in that blue gear, it looks very beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was said that when the train gets fully functional, it has begun operations, that it will be ferrying at least 250,000 Lagosians initially, and then when everything is completed, the red line joins that like 500,000 Lagosians will be ferried to and fro, and I think that's quite significant.
Seriously,
when you take 250,000 off the road, that's quite significant.
Yeah,
so
and
kudos to the Lagos State government, and congratulations to them and Nigeria as well, because that's quite iconic.
I really look forward to that, because it makes sense in Lagos. If one is to leave the Lagos before you know what it looks like with traffic, when
you mention Lagos, you mention center of excellence, and then the next one is traffic.
Yeah, you have to get, if you walk on the island, you probably leave home like 4:30 a.m. To head to the island. And when you close on the island, you probably leave like 10, 11.
You are traveling back home. It has been said by the agency in charge of that people should be talked to. You should really. We can blame government all of the times for not doing the needful infrastructures, but when they do, we should protect these infrastructures.
We should protect.
It's a sad thing when you see Nigerians, some unscrupulous element, some Nigerians, we are good people, but some going there to vandalize this infrastructure just because they want to make sharp gains. And by the way, it's instructive to say that the agency has said that rail line is being powered by electricity.
Do not cross.
So
don't lane.
Don't go there.
The lines.
They are powered by high voltage.
Please.
So if you dare go there, you will be electrocuted and you die. So don't do that. What some unscrupulous elements are doing at the rail tracks, at the conventional rail tracks, is bad enough. Absolutely. And it has been causing different scenarios, different security situations, because some of these rail lines have derailed, sometimes stop in the middle of nowhere, and people are open to all kind of attacks because somebody just want to make sharp gains. But then on this blue line, you have been told, it's being powered by electricity. If you dare go there, you will, the Waterloo is there. So please don't cross the rail lines. Don't do what is not necessary. Let's protect this infrastructure. It belongs to the people, not just because it's Lagos, but every infrastructure everywhere. The transformer in our different communities should be well protected, because these vandalizers, if I may use that particular word, they don't come from heaven. Most of the time, they come from the same community. So we should please protect this institution.
Let's get down to the business of the morning at this point in time. The dailies are ready. We will start things off checking out the headlines, making the rounds from the different dailies that we have for you today. And without further ado, let's just kick off right here. And I will take my first headlines here from the Punch newspaper. The big bold caption, we spoke about it just a few moments ago. It's about the presidential polls petitions. Now you have that headline that says military police warn protesters as tribunal delivers verdict Wednesday. And I can assure you, when the military says something, you better listen. The fear of the military is the beginning of wisdom. Two writers is associated to that story there. Military police vow to prevent violence. Tribunal proceedings for live telecast. Court orders workers to stay away. PDP, LP, confident. APC promises to obey ruling. We keep our fingers crossed. Tomorrow is D-Day. We will see what it looks like. And the beautiful picture of the Lagos Blue Line, the Lagos Rail. Wow, this is beautiful. Even looking at it from the pages of the papers this morning, this is beautiful. This really looks nice. You have a rider a headline, pardon me, there. It says, 40 years after Buhari's suspension, Lagos Light Rail begins operation. Okay. Congratulations to Lagosians, congratulations to Nigerians at this moment. And as we stated here, please, it is our property. Let's make good use of them. On the bottom strip, foreign investors repatriated $5 billion dividend. That's credited to the Central Bank of Nigeria there. And the red strip on the bottom strip of the Punch newspaper, 4 suspects arrested for torturing trainee internet fraudster. Oh my goodness, can you be this? And over 1,000 lawmakers appointees get diplomatic passports. On the top strip of the same daily Punch newspaper, subsidy pains. Labour vows to ground economy, begins strike. And there is a rider there, and it is one of the biggest things we'll be discussing today. Maritime, bank workers, CSOs plan rally. FG begs NLC to shelve strike. Probably no going back on this. I think they are already, and just as we rightly told you, we will be looking into this particular issue. The NLC plans warning strike for today. We will be looking into that. And the last story making the round from the Punch newspaper still. Rep summon 6 MDAs over FG assets still. Oh boy, why would you sell a federal government program asset? That's stealing, and that's really dangerous. All right, these are some of the headlines making the rounds from the pages of Punch newspaper for today.
All right, we move to The Guardian for today. The Guardian newspaper boldly displayed there Tinubu's boarding of reciting Nigeria in 100 days. Of course, that's stylishly done with his signatory logo, 100 days. Talking about fair subsidy, foreign exchange, liberalization, appointment of service chiefs, Emefiele's arrest and prosecution, EFCC board's removal. Speaking about those things that has happened under his administration. Thus far, students' loan scheme, dissolution of MDA's board. Talking about The Guardian now. The Guardian. Appointment of ministers and Niger crisis. Worsening that some of the things he has done that looks like the positive, and then with the red arrow, rising inflation, high fuel prices, bloated cabinet, spike in living cost, worsening forest crisis, rising poverty, a shrinking household income. So the green arrow on the left side, the red arrow on the other side. Okay, I'm boldly written now. Bold reforms leave Nigerians more miserable amid assurances. That's on the page 6 of The Guardian. And just below it, you have Gabon coup leader General Nguema sworn in as interim president. All right, moving on. Apprehension as Labour begins warning strike. Court rules on presidential election. And of course, WALE flags off commercial operations of Lagos Blue Line Rail. Okay, Tinubu not to blame. Buhari plunged economy into crisis, says Sanusi. That's Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, the former Emir of Kano, His Eminence Sanusi. But then, I'm not sure today Nigerians are interested in the blame game. Telling us that we should not blame Tinubu. That's not the reason. He thought he could do better. And in fact, the same Tinubu has said, don't pity me. Yeah. So nobody should really tell us who to blame or what not to blame. It's not even a season of blame game. It's a season of action. Yeah. Nigerians want to have their life improved, and that is the right thing to do. Oando acquires Egypt Nigeria's oil assets. And policemen nab colleagues for abduction, extortion in Rivers. Please, you should go all the way to make through of that investigation, because it's a thing of shame for you to see many uniforms. Some men in uniform. We have very good ones.
Very good ones.
Very excellent ones.
Yeah.
You see them dressed up, you are impressed. You see them, you want to join them because of how good they are looking, how well put up their gears are. But then you see some on the major road just constituting some nuisance there.
Absolutely.
And then you just see them with their hands down. You know, I was on the road, and it has happened so many times, in which you just see, especially commercial drivers, when they get to this point, they're already, you know, putting their hands out of the door to just give these things to them. And then I question some of those drivers. What exactly is the transaction? What are you selling? What is he buying? But then you get to listen to some of those drivers said, I don't want my time wasted.
Exactly.
That's the issue. So just do the needful. You see some of them say, you know, in our Yoruba parlance, me only change. I don't have change. And then you see the officer say, money change, bring it. That is change. So you want to remove 100 naira, I'll give you 900 naira. And then they dip their hands into their pocket, and you're wondering, is this a market? Because there is a seller and a buyer. But what is the product is what we don't know. So it's quite disheartening. But then the police are nabbing some for abduction and extortion in Rivers. And I think that's the right thing to do. Please make good of some of these arrests, not just to, you know, just to say you are arresting them, but let's see a concrete action being done. That's all about the Guardian. Front page for today.
Let's check out some of the headlines I have for you from This Day newspaper. This Day newspaper is next, and the big bold caption there says, Sanusi, how Buhari mismanaged Nigeria's economy in 8 years. And there is a write-up there. It says, inexperienced rookie bought private jet under ex-president. Wow. Inexperienced rookie bought private jet under ex-president.
Yeah, you know, it's a very long conversation there. Whoa. And it described that if you're really following, you will know who he was talking about. You know, His Eminence, Lamido Sanusi, doesn't hold back.
You know,
whenever he's talking, he doesn't care whose ox he's got.
He will say it as it is.
Yeah.
Ah, boy, that's something. That's something. Private jet. I'm not talking about buying a bicycle, a private jet.
Millions and millions of dollars.
Wow.
You know, just for doing something that he has described there. You need a copy of that to really see what he's talking about.
Seriously, please do. Moving further, just below that same headline I reeled out, 2023 budget, FG post 4.6 trillion naira half-year revenue. Okay, inclusive governance. That's the Kwara State Governor there, Abdul Razak, doing the needful. Okay, and coming further up, yeah, Mr. Sanwo-Olu there with his trained people yesterday, taking a ride on the blue line, the blue rail line project there in Lagos.
I think that before we leave that inclusive governance, and I think it's instructive to say that as the governor of Kwara State there, Governor Abdul Razak, inaugurating Mr. Peter Ayowande Peter Kayode, a visually impaired civil servant, as a permanent secretary for the Ministry of Social Development in a ceremony. And that's really inclusive governance.
That's
to include people with special needs into the administration as a permanent secretary. That's quite instructive.
That's
Kudos to them in Kwara State.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Thank you, Mr. Governor. Well done there. We'll greet you. Moving further, and you have this story which is actually common to virtually all the dailies as well. It's about the tribunal. The tribunal delivers judgment in Atiku Obi's petitions against Tinubu tomorrow. We keep our fingers crossed. On the top strip, just that black line there. Subsidy. NLC shuns FG's peace talks, insist on strike. And on the top strip, but Orlando said to take over Ajib Oil, gas, power assets in Nigeria. Orlando set to take over Ajib's oil, gas, power assets in Nigeria. The The head, what's it called? The writer associated to that story that says, deal awaits regulatory approval, N.U.T, to focus on offshore business in Nigeria. These are some of the headlines making the rounds from this day newspaper for today.
And we'll go to The Nation for this morning. Oyetola demands report on dilapidated port facilities. But boldly written there, we have federal government, TUC, strike over subsidy payments not needed now. With riders, NLC pushes ahead, shuns meeting with minister. Wage award plan ready in 2 weeks. Presidency cautions against mixing labor matters with politics. All right. And then the bold picture there with the governor of Lagos State, his deputy, FEMI N.U.T, some top politicians there. I can see Musli Obanikoro at his back, and some other persons, journalists, at the launch of that Blu-ray line. Congratulations to them again. Okay. And DSS warns plotters of violence.
Yeah.
Okay, they are talking tough, and they are saying the agency will not just sit and watch the nation being plunged into needless violence. So they are warning them. So be warned on behalf of the DSS, especially plotters of violence. According to the DSS. All right, and a tribunal verdict on poll: Tinubu will be confident. Court okays live telecast of judgment tomorrow, and I think is a good one. Yeah, that the judgment, the proceedings and the judgment will be aired live, and I think there was a call for that. I think a court action was instituted by, I think, the PDP or thereabout. That the proceedings should be aired, and finally the court has okayed it now, and they said, but it's going to be under strict guidance and surveillance, that the court will only be available to accredited persons. There will be due accreditations, because we expect that kind of sitting tomorrow to be a crowded one. Many persons want to witness what will happen, especially our enemies, the persons involved are, and the cases are rather talking about the presidential election that was held earlier in the year, but then that produced President Bola Tinubu, which is being contested by the parties right now. So it will be televised live. It was said that every willing, broadcast stations will be allowed when they are done what they should do. Okay, the top strip: tolling of federal highways to go on, says Umahi. And Ohando acquires NAOC's upstream oil assets. And but what does this mean? By the way, it should be interrogated, because it's more like a company acquiring another one, and it's more like that company that has been acquired, some of the assets leaving as well. But it should be interrogated further. And finally, Sanwo-Olu drops 5 in new nominees list to Assembly. Okay, some set of nominees have been, sent, the names sent to the ad hoc committee, screening them again. And instructive to say that the former Commissioner of Health in Lagos State, Dr. Akin Abayomi, thereabout, has been renominated again. Benga Motosho again has been renominated. So all the best to them. More insight into Tinubu's 100 days in office. Our time flies today.
100 days, just
100
like that.
days. Honestly. It's almost here. So as the government performed, as the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu performed so far, we read out on the page of a paper the other time what has happened under him. That looks like a positive, and the other side, a negative as well. So we'll be on this matter, to look at the first 100 days of President Bola Tinubu, and I think they should be on their way to India right now.
Oh yes.
By the way, they've not landed. That's it on The Nation for today.
And quickly, I'll check out other headlines from Daily Trust newspaper. Just surreal, because they eventually carry the same story, but different. The way they were headlined is quite different. Parties optimistic as tribunal rules on Atiku Obi's petitions tomorrow. You have those sets of writers associated to that story. Judgment will affirm Tinubu's mandate. That's credited to the APC. We expect justice, nothing else. And that's also credited to the PDP candidate himself. We are confident of winning. The Labour Party is talking. Ballot, not judiciary, will make pronouncement. That's credited to code there. And you have some servicemen, the Chief of Naval Staff and Chief of Defense Staff, others there yesterday during the security meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa yesterday. Coming further down there, subsidy removal, NLC Shon's FG begins strike today. And also, the true story about my choice of IDOWU, that's credited to Obasanjo. You want to know more about that? Please pick it up from Daily Trust newspaper. Bond kicks as Rivers shots AIT, Ray Power. That's the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria there. When I saw that story yesterday, I was like, wow. Excuse me. It's the war between former Rivers State governor and the new one has inherited it and going after the PDP stalwart late, what's his name again? Raymond Dokwesi.
The late Raymond
Dokwesi's projects in Rivers State. We just hope if they've crossed the boundaries, but then if not, I guess we should not attach politics into this. Palliatives, Kano distributes 457,000 bags of rice, maize to citizens. Thank you, Kano. Thank you, Kano. And all the top strip of the same daily, I get frightened each time I receive workers' payroll. That's credited to Mr. President. Speaking there, hey, Mr. President, you need not be scared. The tendency whereby it's going to get larger. That's what Nigerians are awaiting.
You know, when the president is being quoted as saying he gets frightened, one would say, Mr. President, you are not frightened when the workers are doing their work. So why will you be frightened when it's time to pay them? Please pay them.
And talking pension here, 72,000 workers not properly captured. That's credited to Pencom there. And 30 trillion naira borrowed from CBN. Inexperienced boy bought jet under Buhari. That's credited to Sanusi, former emir of Kano State and former CBN governor as well. These are some of the stories we have for you, making the rounds from the dailies that we have for you for this beautiful day. And very shortly, we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll begin the conversation. We will be joined by quite a whole lot of people live in the studio and also via Zoom. Let's get to know what it looks like out there concerning this protest. Will the NLC back off? Will they back down? Or this is a go-go, no going back?
Or is he even on the way?
Is he on the way? We'll get
the situation in different states.
We'll get to know very shortly. So, Morning Spring right here from Western Spring Television. Just stay with us.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring, a fact A to Z, check and confirm. Ever expounding current events, traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
James Ajibolaige was a lawyer who obtained his first degree in classics from Nigeria's premier University of Ibadan. Born September 13, 1930, the orator and the polyglot spoke impeccable English, French, Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba languages. His fine diction placed him among classical orators and public speakers like Cicero, the Roman orator. This attribute earned him the prefix Cicero of Esauke. He authored Kaduna Boy, an autobiography, Detainee's Diary, Constitution, and The People, among 6 other books. Bola Ige was a colorful politician, elected governor Oyo State in 1979 and appointed a federal minister in 1999. He was a pioneer founder of Afenifere, the Yoruba social, cultural, and political group. He invested his political sagacity to propel the group to the height of political leadership and decision-making in the southwest of Nigeria. Bola Ige was assassinated on the 23rd December 2001. His murderers are yet to be apprehended till today. Western Spring Television identifies Bola Ige as a watershed character in history. The British Empire was the largest and the most powerful in the world. At its zenith, the empire embraced a quarter of the Earth's land surface and imposed her imperial majesty's rule on more than 458 million peoples across nations and continents. The empire took off with overseas possessions and trading posts established by England, spread over 3 million kilometers between 16th and early 18th century. Like previous empires, the British Empire began to crumble on its weight of overstretched territories and growing unrest in our various colonies. Today, the British Empire no longer exists. What is in place is the Commonwealth of Nations, a loose association of sovereign states which recognize the King of England as the titular head. Western Spring Television identifies the British Empire as a watershed empire in history. Dramatist, playwright, and icon of Yoruba thematic arts, Duro Ladipo was born December 18, 1931 in Osogbo, southwest Nigeria. His clergyman father christened him Timothy. His other names, Duro Dola, Duro Shomo, Duro Rike, reflected his persona and the circumstances that surrounded his birth. The legendary stage actor had in several public fora identified himself as one of the greatest abikus born to die in this world. Family records reveal how he was born and died 13 times. The intertwining names he bore thus lent credence to his spiritism. Duro Ladipo was one of the best known and world-acclaimed Yoruba dramatists to emerge from post-colonial Africa. His notable works Obakoso, Obawaja, and Moremi took him beyond Africa to several parts of the world. By the time Duro Ladipo died on 11 March 1978, the Nigeria's first cultural ambassador had acquired a towering image as an artist whose works adorned the frontage of Trenchard Hall, University of Ibadan. Western Spring Television identifies Duro Ladipo as a major character in history. Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was an educationist and advocate of women's rights. She was recognized for her vitriolic comments against colonial policy of taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Funmilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransom Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Funmilayo Ransom Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Ololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize, was born on 25th October 1900 and was killed on 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Funmilayo Ransom Kuti as a watershed character in history. Hilas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in the deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history.
In the next few weeks, we intend to address them holistically. Consequently, I use this opportunity to assure Nigerian workers that this government would never take them for granted. Recall that on the directive of Mr. President, the federal government dispatched trucks of rice and other grains to states for immediate distribution to most vulnerable citizens. Approved the disbursement of 5 billion naira to the 36 states and FCT for purchase and distribution of more palliatives and further interventions. Earlier, Mr. President had directed the purchase of CNG-powered buses and implementation of the policy for the conversion of petrol cars to gas as a way of reducing the cost of energy for transportation. In the course of the coming weeks, additional measures will be announced.
The Minister for Labour speaking there yesterday, former governor of Plateau State,
Simon
Lalong, appealing to members of the Nigeria Labour Congress. Look, there's quite a whole lot that is on our hands. We would definitely address you, get to you, but Labour unions seem not to be interested in any appeal at this moment in time, and they have definitely said, hey, we would go on strike. And it's on this note, we'd like to welcome you back to Morning Spring. The conversation time is here, and let's do the needful. Labour gave a 2-day warning strike that begins today, 5th and 6th of September 2023, and it seems there is no backing up from that for today. In the house with us this morning, we have a former N.U.T General Secretary who will help us out to talk about why Labour is doing this. Why will they not sit with the federal government to get a headway concerning what Nigerians are facing? Is it the best option? I'd like to welcome Mr. WALE OYENIYI, Chief OYENIYI. Sorry. Beginning to mix your name with another comment out there. Thank you so much for joining us, and good morning to you, sir.
You are welcome. Good morning.
You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, sirs.
Very shortly, we'd like to let you know that intermittently we will be checking out what is happening in various states, majorly among us here in the Southwest. We will be hearing from the various NLC chairmen to tell us how prepared are they, what are they looking at, and how is it going out there. Is there compliance towards the warning strike? But be that as may, while we are with that, let's just continue with Comrade in the house this morning. Comrade, once again, thank you for joining us. Let's look at this period in which we are. The economy hasn't been very rosy in a couple of years, not just now. But this new administration is barely 100 days old. The NLC seem not to be ready to listen to any story, because they say governance is continuum. What NLC is doing, you've been there, you are still a part of this. Is it worth it?
Yes, thank you very much. We like to correct one assertion.
All right.
The erroneous one, that the problem has been there. No! When Tinubu came in, before he came in, he created more problems than any government of this country, of Africa.
How so?
How?
He created problems. Okay. When he came in, he met the fuel something 188, isn't it? 188, per, the pump price, price. That day, he changed it to 500 naira.
Did he?
500 naira.
Yes.
That day, the pump price changed to 500 naira for 188.
That's why I was trying to clarify. He didn't do that.
No, I'm coming. He did it.
How so?
Okay. The day Buhari was about to leave, all of us bought fuel 188. You bought fuel 188. Every Nigerian bought the normal pump price was 188 naira. But the day he made that speech, that's unguided speech. No, as a leader, you don't do that. As a leader, you don't do that. Your first made this speech. I'm coming. Okay. That's our problem. And it's not only that why he did. That's only that why he did. He raised dollar, Buhari left dollar 430 naira. He raised it to 800 something. And you are saying that they cost it. That's almost times 2. And pound jump from 400 to 900 and something. So why do you say there were minor problems when Buhari was there, but now he compounded the problem. And the first day, you don't have to do that. You made a speech. I've never seen any stable government who did that in Africa. What he did now was to take off for granted. These people now can't do anything. They can't do anything. What he's supposed to do, if you are a good leader, charismatic for that matter, if there's a problem, you don't declare your maiden speech. You don't do that. Except you are thinking these people now, they can't do anything. And I want to tell you now, if you're an analyst, you look at his antecedent. Let me addition ourselves. What happened in Lagos State when he was there? What happened in Lagos State? People are saying it developed. No! If you have been following Lagos trend, it was Fashola who developed and the another guy followed him. What is his name? Ambode. These people now did Lagos State. What they are? I'm coming. And there's something now. Okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. You know when he was there?
Yes.
He was a friend of Akadi. What Akadi did also here was that over-bloated workforce and retired. Tinubu started it again. If you listen to what he said today now, he said he has over-bloated civil servants. What's he going to do? Sack.
All right.
So people now should not. Yeah. No, Buhari government may created some problems which we know, but Tinubu compounded it.
All right.
He compounded it. So we should not be sentimental and say he didn't meet anything like that. If he left it 420.
Yeah.
If he left it 198 naira, we know that okay, the problem has been there. But how can you raise it within a day? Within a day, and then probably I do that area. Let me add another area that annoys me as a Nigerian, as a lover of this country, is that a leader now celebrating what he gets from people, what he makes from people. He said he has got something billion from the fuel difference. No, I cannot say that. The money doesn't come from crude oil.
Yeah.
It comes from we people, which we are suffering. It's not easy to buy petrol now.
All right, comrade, so that we just get some clarification.
Yes.
You talked about Tinubu, the president, raising the price of fuel, but in actual fact, he didn't do that. Possibly his words influenced the increase of that fuel, because what he said on that day, or the inaugural speech, was the era of subsidy payment was gone. And we know what followed. Yes, the price of fuel skyrocketed.
He said it has gone forever. You see,
Yeah.
we should pick the worst. He said first subsidy, to quote him, because I did industrial relations at master level, and I did language first degree. He said first subsidy is gone forever.
All right, just hold on.
That's what he said.
Just hold on.
He's made his speech.
Just hold on. Now, yeah, it's fine, but to say President Muhammadu Tinubu rather increase the price of fuel, that would be erroneous, because he didn't categorically do that. Secondly, you talked about the fact that he increased the dollar to Naira exchange.
Yes.
I'd like to say again, it did not do that. What happened was the liberalization of the foreign exchange. And if I may, so that I land and then you respond to that.
Okay.
They removed the ceiling on the dollar to Naira exchange. Yeah. So they call it floutation.
Yes.
It was flouted. And, instead of the bank and the parallel market, okay, let everything just be, and so that these things will work itself out. By the way, it has not helped thus far, because the price of dollar to Naira now is quite a very exorbitant one, 700, 800, 900 sometimes, depending on where you are buying. Just to clarify it there.
Okay.
But then, I'm coming.
Okay.
Now, the question is, some of these indices, some of these utterances, that the president has made, that you are talking about, that hasn't helped thus far. Talking about the subsidy, it has always been there. President Muhammadu Buhari, former President Muhammadu Buhari, before he left, wanted to remove that. They kept postponing, and many persons thought they didn't have the grit to do that because of how the people react to that, and then they passed the buck to the next administration. And many persons, comrade, are saying the subsidy at one point or the other must go, because the nation cannot continue that payment. And so when it has happened now that the current president Tinubu has said that the era of that payment is gone forever, and that's why we are here. Okay. Now, the Labour have issued strike upon strike warnings, they chefed, and now they are underway now. The question is it worth it? That's why he said.
Let me clarify some of the things you said.
Yes.
You said he didn't increase the fuel price.
Yes, he did not.
He did.
How, sir?
Okay. When he said the fuel subsidy is gone forever, who is the major importer of fuel in Nigeria? Can you answer me? NNPC. NNPC is a government, is a parastatal under the government. When he removed the subsidies given to them, is it not one that increased it? It's as a sort of total remover of that subsidy that led to 500. If you didn't remove it, the thing will still stand 198. So it's the one.
You thought subsidy could have been there?
With subsidy?
Unremoved.
Isn't not this country belong to everybody? Can't we reason along that line? I'm coming. The oil we get in Nigeria, every Nigerian has a right to eat.
Absolutely.
What are we gaining?
Are you saying that
I'm coming. What are we gaining?
No, so that we take it one after the other, comrade.
Okay, where in the world?
Yeah.
Where in the world that the government does not subsidize something? Is there any country in the world where there's no subsidy?
So you're saying the subsidy could have been left?
No, they should have left it. That's what now the only thing every Nigerian enjoys. The only thing all of us enjoy together is this fuel. If you look at it, it's this fuel that we enjoy together. And I want to give an example now. Look at your road. Look at your road from the main road there, Ilobu Road.
Yeah.
When you reach onward, they didn't do the road. It was pothole here, pothole there. Are you not paying tax? Did you enjoy the government by paying tax? But the only thing every Nigerian enjoys is fuel. The only thing we enjoy is fuel. And there's no country in the world that say he doesn't want to subsidize. And then Wolsey is now celebrating what he has realized. So that is, by the way, so it's the one that caused it. People should know that if he doesn't remove his first subsidy, at least, I was once a journalist before I went to N.U.T. Some journalists came from Libya when Gaddafi was there. They told us at Okepadi, this correspondent chapel Okepadi, when they came, they said, Gaddafi, every home, Gaddafi know that, he knew that many companies now could not afford make. And they have fuel, they have everything. So he puts this tanker, this tank something in every compound. And every morning, the motor will go there, tanker will go there and deliver something for. He said every Libyan must go with a cup of milk every morning. That is subsidy. You are subsidizing it. But when you say you don't want people now, you want to, because that money now is removed. It's come from you and me. It's come from us. We now pay extra. We are being forced to pay extra. We are being forced. Then you said naira liberalization. No. If you have been sending naira, if you have been sending dollar, something, we have children abroad. With the grace of God, I have about 5 children there. There's no now Buhari did something when he came. You know, there's what we call Western Union. There's what we call MoneyGram. Our government subsidized it. When Buhari came, he said you cannot send more than $1,000. And he didn't wait at that. He now said $1,000 to your child, anybody abroad, for 3 months. Subsidizing it. But when Tinubu came now, the Western Union could not go again. The only country in the world where you cannot send Western Union. The only country in the world where you cannot send MoneyGram. You can only receive. Where you are receiving, are they not subsidizing there? You see, let us look at all those things. So he caused the whole problem, and he knew what he did. He knew Nigerians want to tell us blah 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 as we've been saying, we accept. If he didn't, there's no way he could not be subsidizing dollar. Once you subsidize it, because once you want to spend it, you want to send it. The central bank, you have to subsidize it through bank. And he removed those subsidies. That's why the dollar grew up. How can you say liberalization? Which liberalization? Which is one liberalizing? And then, though Buhari caused the problem of dollar before, because he withdrew the change, he withdrew the alliances. But notwithstanding, the thing was not as bad as this. But central bank was still subsidizing if you want to send money abroad. But Tinubu withdrew that subsidy. He withdrew it. Not only for something he withdrew subsidy for dollar for other exchange rate. And that's why the thing grew up.
Well, come on, let me actually, because let's look at this holistically, sir.
Okay.
The fuel subsidy, before it was removed, we've always heard that it was just a few set of Nigerians who benefited from that aspect of the money's been made.
Okay.
And ever since this subsidy was removed in the last 2 months, I think the federal government was able to save about 1.4 trillion naira, which has never happened in a long while. If judiciously, aside the fact that, yes, there's this distrust about Nigerians and government, if 1 point something is put into the economy judiciously, won't we benefit from that aspect?
Another thing I want to correct is that the federal government didn't save anything. You say the federal government makes we Nigerians to cough it out. We cough it out. Well, where they save it? Where is it coming from? It was you and me that were buying fuel. And from the money we paid, that's where they got that.
Comrade, you are saying is the increase in the price of a pump,
yes,
the addition that we are paying, that the government is referring to as the savings. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. It's the increase.
But how about money that are being borrowed?
His government who said it. His government who said it. that he had realized this thing from people. He realized this social amount of billion from people.
Did they say that? They only talked about savings.
He said, no. There was a time he said it that...
so that we don't quote the government out of context.
But I read it from one paper that he said that he said he had realized this thing from the subsidy something.
Because you remember...
Where did he say?
Yeah.
You can't save something you don't have. If you don't have something, can you save it?
You know...
He will have said, from people, I meet my people.
All right, comrade, what I'm trying to say is...
What out.
Yes, comrade, what I'm trying to say is most of those subsidies being paid before, let's agree now for the purpose of this conversation that there was subsidy and it was being paid for by the government through borrowings, heavy borrowings. And so it appears that no serious nation can continue to borrow. What the nation is using as subsidy is not what it is making. It's what is being borrowed in billions and billions of dollars. It has been said over and over, except you are distrusting the agencies of the government.
Because the way they govern this nation is abnormal. The way they govern this nation is abnormal. They need not to borrow. They need not to borrow. What do I mean? Look at overbloated special advisors they have in the house. Look at the jamboree payment of the legislators. When a senator goes home with less than 15 million a month, not less than 15 million. You know, they've not disputed it. People have been saying it. Let them come out and say how much they are getting a month.
That's cost of governance.
No, cost of governance. But cost of governance. The assembly people now, the senators, they go home every month with 15 million. As of rep, they say 30 million every month. And one see is that once you are in the house, you have a special advisor. That advisor will still have advisor. That one you have now will still have you see all those things, they are uncalled for. They are uncalled for. And if you have been to Abuja, it had been established because when I was in Abuja, I used to interact with the National Assembly because of my job, of my desk. Every 3 months, they renovate the House of Assembly. They repaint it every 3 months. It's what I watch. And I asked them. They said, you see, they budgeted for it. They have to spend the budget.
When you say renovation,
every 3 months.
Yeah, because the current national house, the National Assembly is under renovation. And it was said, no, comrade, if I may, and it was said that it has not been done in years. You know, the ones they are using now for plenary is just a makeshift, just a couple of rooms at the Red Chamber and at the Green Chamber as well. And that's why the National Assembly is under renovation now, the House. And you are saying you have a fact that used to be repainted or renovated.
Repainting every 3 months. They repaint it every 3 months.
Is that a fact?
Yes, it was a fact.
All right.
When I was at Abuja, I don't know for now, but when I was there,
that was how it was.
Yes, every 3 months, they repaint it.
Correct.
And I even bother, I asked them. I said, why you are wasting money? They said that the budget for. And they have to spend it.
All right. Come on, let's come back home a little bit here. The strike action by the National Nigerian Labour Congress.
Yes, and I'll see.
Let's look at this strike. We know that this will ground the economy and the billions, the millions that will be lost in these 2 days. To recover them, it's only probably maybe by the grace of God. As an NLC and as a comrade, during your time, you're still part of them naturally. A comrade remains a comrade. Don't you think we, NLC, Labour, should think of what impact this strike will cost the nation in billions of dollars, and the citizens will still be impoverished? Shouldn't they probably sit with government and table this out, and then let's see how this goes?
Okay. The first time we see is that it's not really strike. It was a warning strike.
It's a warning.
It's a warning strike.
2 days.
But they are not going to go to work.
No.
Either warning or not.
It's covered under the labor law.
Yeah.
It's a warning strike.
We are not disputing that.
Spontaneous reaction. It's a spontaneous reaction.
Yeah.
And everybody knows. They say they are distributing palliatives. Have you received any? No, I'm coming.
The
I'm coming.
poor of
No,
the
I'm coming.
poorest.
No, the poor of the poorest.
No,
So are you not poor?
We will say
are you not buying fuel 580? You will see the deceit. The deceit. They say they are distributing
the deceit on whose part?
No, I'm coming.
On whose part, comrade? The deceit on whose part?
On the part of the federal government. Deceit galore.
But they've decided to.
The states have received
5 billion naira. 2 billion has
been given out. They want to receive 5 billion naira.
Yes. As much as they.
Why can't they? Every state.
Yes.
Why can't they use that money to repair the refineries? No. Where can they use? You see, the fact is the
refineries are under repair.
It's under repair.
There is a budget for that.
When will they finish it?
I think it's there to answer.
Now, what we are saying is that before we remove the first subsidy, he will have repaired that money that you are saying you are dising now. Even every state has got maybe 2 million, 2 billion, 3 billion now. Can anybody tell me that he has got any amount?
Comrade, you might never know.
No, I've never said it.
Because somebody like you will not go for palliative.
Definitely.
No. Am I not buying for 580? Am I not buying for 580?
You are better than so many people, comrade. Just like you stated that have we received. Some of us will.
That's what I'm telling comrade. You might never know.
That is the problem with this country.
Okay.
The fuel now. Not only the poor buys fuel. Yesterday I bought fuel 57,000 naira. For my hotel, for my house, for my car.
Okay.
7,000 naira a day.
That's
no.
That's for personal.
It's killing. No, look at it.
Business.
Look at it. It's killing. No. For my house. It's killing. It's killing. I just manage. I don't manage to do that. The things I'm supposed to do, I couldn't do it. My children are supposed to give money to, I couldn't give to them yesterday. You see, these are the things. Now the fact is, if you don't take all for granted, which I believe he did, you will have waited once you come in. You will have waited. Okay, what shall we do? I don't want labor. This NSC. I like that our new president.
Joe Ajero.
Joe Ajero. He's so intelligent and he's surrounded by professionals. The fact is, before you do this thing, you have to sit down. What will I do? 5 billion. If you see, there was one television show that showed in the Kwara. They gave half a bag to one compound rice. Half a bag to one compound. And they assembled the women. They said, how many Congos? Maybe half a Congo to every. You see, it's a deceit galore. You are just deceiving us. The fact is, repair these refineries. We don't import again. Once we don't import again, the whole thing will come down. The whole thing will come down. And cut the cost of governance. Cut the cost of governance. Once you did that one, jamboree payment of the legislators, cut it. Let that be rule that the speaker, the president of the Senate, can only have the assistants, the special advisors, and you don't have to make it that one. Look at what happened in Rivers before Wike left. I think he employed over 2,000 special advisors.
200,000. 200.
Is that reasonable? The Rivers State government that is cacophonizing, making cacophony, doing things. But you have, I'm coming. You have money. You have money.
Yes.
You have money. Why can't you use that money to build a refinery? 200,000. You see, it's crazy. It's African. When you see Africanness in us, I don't know how you can describe it. We don't have leaders in Africa. He's the one now cacophonizing. Look at it. He got Abuja now. He's now saying he's got to demolish. Is that a leader? Is that a leader?
Comrade, so
no, we have to look at it. The way our leaders they treat us, it's not a good thing. All right. And that is why you may not ask me. And that is why there is a coup is ubiquitous in Africa. Coup is ubiquitous in Africa. But personally, the coup they are doing in Nigeria, Gabon, I don't believe in that coup can solve problem. The only coup that I think can solve problem is Rollins' own. DJ Rollins.
All right, comrade.
These are the things.
Comrade, hold on.
But somebody just come here and announce. No, cannot solve that problem.
Let's stay on labor.
People must learn lessons.
All right, comrade, let's stay on labor matters now. And the situation, 5th and 6th, today and tomorrow, has been said to be the warning strike. Either is a warning strike or a substantive strike. One thing is sure. I know. One thing is sure, they are not going to go to work. And so some things will not be done. Money will be lost. Many things will not be established. Many things will not be accomplished today. Definitely. But, you know, some are saying, considering the state of our nation right now, you have talked about the challenges. And possibly you have talked about things that the government could have done. Putting the refineries in order, cutting cost of governance, you know, doing the things that are needful before the subsidy could be removed. You know, these are the things you said. But then those things have not been necessarily done. Now, the subsidy has been removed. The government are saying they are not going to back down because they can't keep borrowing to pay, you know, robbing Peter to pay Paul in a kind of way. And the labor has been speaking. Sometimes the negotiations will break down. Sometimes, you know, there will be an agreement. There was a threat of a strike that was averted just weeks ago before this warning strike was put in place about, and the labor are saying the palliative thing maybe is not done the right way, that the CNG fuel buses, some of their demands, by the way, which I know you know, is the fact that some of the promises, some of those agreements are, labor are saying they have not really seen work being done on it. But the Minister of Labor yesterday spoke and said he has just resumed office, that they should please give him that honor to please intervene in the matter. We know what happened during the Chris Ngige era with Festus Keyamo at the Ministry of Labor, and you know, many persons felt the labor were not well handled at the time. ASU situation, NMA situation, but then there is Simon Lalong, who is just a new minister. Don't you think he should have been given that benefit of doubt? A new minister, just less than 2 weeks. And he spoke yesterday in a kind of a plea that say, guys, please work with me. I'm ready to work with you.
You know, you've said it. You said there was a time now they issued strike notice. And they have to jettison it.
Yeah.
In fact, they did it one day, this protest.
Yes.
And everybody...
That meeting was chaired by FEMI Gbajabiamila.
Everybody was lambasting.
But there's a new minister now.
Was lambasting the labor. He couldn't weave Ethereums. He said, new labor, you are now childish. You are now chicken at it. You don't know what you are doing. You see, what they've done is that this warning strike, in the language that government now will sit tight with. In fact, let me tell you, sir, in the labor, they've started this working strike in every state. How do I mean? Kwara declared that you come to work only 3 days.
It's to help his citizens.
No, I'm coming.
I'm coming.
You work 3 days. Some offices, they said just 3 days you come to the office. What happened to the other 2 days? What happened to other 2 days?
Is a kind of palliative from the government, from the Kwara State government.
Yes, I will now say this one strike is a palliative, so that people now, government will now sit tight.
But that's not what it is.
No, they will
that's
sit
not
tight.
What it is.
They will sit tight. The labor now wants it now to be general, so that they know what to do. They know what to do. Look at the civil servants. If you see how much they pay, cost of transportation, it's not easy.
And that's why the Kwara State government say come only to work 3 days.
If we did that one, it's not general. And labor 9S now help assisted them that let us be general. That's why they got two money.
You are talking. You are painting two different contests.
No. That's
Comrade. Sorry, let me ask you. Comrade, let me ask you. Do you agree with this warning strike?
Definitely.
You support it?
Definitely.
You agree with this?
I definitely. And I'm saying, in fact, they didn't do what they're supposed to do.
What are they supposed to do?
It should be with protests. With protests. Not only stay at home. We have so many strike actions.
Is that advisable?
It's advisable.
The DSS are speaking. The DSS are speaking.
Yes.
There are some persons. They are not speaking directly to labor. They are saying there are some persons that are planning violent protests. Really. But they didn't mention labor.
Protest looks like in Nigeria.
May not be violent.
How about if it's like
We've seen peaceful protests. We saw what happened during the NSAS.
Yes.
It was a peaceful protest before it got hijacked, and we eventually saw what. But let's leave that aside. Let's come back to this issue of labor, this warning strike. For you are a comrade. Gone were the days where labor will sneeze, Nigeria will shiver.
Yes.
But at this point, will you say labor, there ain't no toothless bulldog? They seem to, this one, or they're just trying to redeem their image with what they are doing at this point in time.
You want me to confirm that one? Please. Yes. The one day jetting, every Nigerian lambasted them, left, right, and center. Now they want to tell Nigerians, you know there are things, if you are a leader, once you are planning strike action, once you make one mistake, it will be very difficult for you to correct. You know what happened the first one they did? What happened was that in the labor law, you have to give strike notice, which is 7 days, 14 days, or 21 days. They only gave by next week, you want to start, which is against the labor law. It's against labor law. But there's one section in the labor law which they failed to adapt to, is that if it's a spontaneous reaction to something, they are covered under the law to start the action. But they want to be holier. They say, we want to give something. That's why the government went to National Industrial Court. But not that. And the only thing, the first thing National Industrial Court did now is a status quo to maintain. That is, you have to be continue negotiating. That what really happened, not that they just say it. But now, this one now, if it's a warning strike, they are covered under the labor law of this country. They are being covered. Warning strike, it doesn't mean they've started strike, not full-blown strike, but it's a warning strike. And before federal government will go to court now, warning strike would have been done. That's not the case. The thing would have been done. So
you seem happy.
NSC has professionals.
Comrade, you seem...
They know the type of government they are dealing with.
All right.
They will just, they charge them for contempt of court. Remember, the one day they did.
Yes.
And once the court said, don't go on strike, you went. That's contempt of court. I could remember in Osun State here, when Akede was there, I, 6 other people, were about to be jailed. For what? For not obeying Order 1, Order 2, Order 3, Order 4 of National Industrial Court in Lagos, when Akede took us there, labor leaders. We were on strike for 3 months. So he took us to the court, and the court gave first order. We should resume. We didn't do that. Gandhi was our legal advisor by that time. Gandhi. So, Order 2, we didn't comply. Order 3, when Order 4 now, Gandhi has to tell us, he phoned us, he said that, well, you see that you go to jail, or you call up the top. We decided to go to jail until these people now, when they saw people surrounded us in the court, they now said, go and settle the tattoo. So, we could not blame them. It was the way they did it. But now they are wiser by saying warning strike. If they say warning strike, they can't go to, if they want to go to court, it will be today. And they've started the action. And once they've started the action, National Industrial Court has no local standard to say, what's the action you've done? Don't do it.
All right, comrade.
So let us give kudos to them. They've tried.
You seem happy with the strike.
Definitely. Definitely.
Obviously. But
I said it should be with protest, not only strike action. Not only total strike action.
And where will that leave the people?
The people who need the government to know
richer or poorer,
that people are suffering. The fact is, some people didn't know we are suffering, and that's the truth.
But this will not affect government in any way.
It affects them.
They will still be in their air conditioned rooms. Nigerians will keep lamenting.
No, if they are there, media, foreign media will carry it. It's against the government. It's against the government. You see, when you see a stable government, and I want to refer to Inola regime, we were shown here. Inola regime didn't witness a single strike throughout 7 years. He didn't witness a single strike. That means good governance.
Or better say he had pocketed.
No, not pocketed. He could not pocket someone like me. We cannot pocket some of us. But the fact is, if it's good governance, before you do anything, now we fight you. Let us do something, and we do it. If we do it, when Ola came in, let me see, when Ola came in, he just increased, he just give level 6, 16, 17 to the servant allowance. He increased our salary by that time. Before we do anything, he will pay 20 of every month. When you say promotion of teachers, promotion of everybody, he will do it.
All right.
What you do want again as a worker.
All right. Let me speak on that.
It goes against the government. Your government has failed.
All right.
It's the failure of the government.
Comrade, comrade, you just talked about the former administration of the former governor, Prince Olagunsoye, that for 7 years, according to you, there was no strike action from the labor. As some will say, you just talked about possibly he had good governance. That's why it didn't happen.
Exactly.
But some will say, payment of salary, pension, gratuity, especially salary to the workers, that once that is done, for the NLC, or for the civil servant that means good governance to them.
No,
let me land. That means good governance to them, even if other sector of the state is suffering. Infrastructure, some other things like that. One salary is just being paid. To the average Nigerian worker, that means good governance. So what is good governance, actually?
Yes, good governance is that
just payment of salary.
Yes, no.
Once workers are happy, that's fine.
Good governance is that.
How about policies?
Yes, policies. State government policy too. Every local government office felt its impact. That's good governance.
Because it's paying salary.
No, no salary alone. Look at the stadium. Look at the road he did by that time. Look at this express something. This Babangida, what the term it? That express route. Obasanjo expressway. That is the way to something. He did it. So everybody we felt his government. We felt his government. When you go to bank, you get your money. When you do this thing, all those yalojas, they are getting money, they are doing everything. I don't know what we want again. Governance again. There's water, there's electricity, there's security. That is what's called governance.
All right.
Called good governance.
All right. But one will say you are a comrade, by the way, and then you are a labor-friendly person, you are a workers-friendly person. But just like I said earlier, that once salary is being paid, the workers are happy, they are not being owed.
No, not only salary.
Some will say they can shout hooray.
Promotion.
And that's fine.
Promotion of workers. There was a government also here that was paid. He paid half salary for 30 months. Is that a government? Half salary to workers, somebody working.
All right. Back to the
30 months.
Comrade, back to labor matters. Back to labor matters, because we are not doing comparison of administration.
No. The fact is when you say a government doing that, when you say government doing that, now you have to credit him.
All right.
We have to credit him. Right. If Tinubu has increased the federal workers' salary now, I know they will not go strike. But nothing has got to them. That
gives credence to the fact that just pay the civil servant their salary,
not just pay.
And the government has done well.
If they pay that one, if they increase salaries,
yes,
the salary
and they are proposed it as well.
No.
They are proposed salary increment. The government has proposed.
They have proposed it. Has it come out?
There was a 10 points.
Are they not buying fuel now? Don't this from don't that period. I don't buy fuel at 800 or something. I don't buy fuel there. So the
proposal are there. Some of these demands that the NLC made, there was, I think, a 10 key point agenda or so that was told, that was issued by the government of President Tinubu, that this is what we are going to do: CNG field buses, salary increase, the work with all the stakeholders to do those things, release of rice and grains, which they are doing. Most state governments have said they have received it. Some of them are sharing it already.
How many times did it take him now to remove the first subsidy? It's not a day.
Can those things be done in a day?
No. Well, he removed the first subsidy in a day. The salary increase, everything else will be done within a week. If it's serious,
it could be done in a week.
Within a week. Once the template on ground, you want to do this one, you just increase it.
You are talking about the civil servants nationally.
Civil servants, once the servants now are being paid, once they are being paid, it will go round.
All right,
it will go round.
Comrade, let me.
NSC now insisted on this refinery. They insisted on it.
All right,
they were so reasonable.
Comrade, let me chip in this. Some will say we keep talking about the federal government,
okay,
but that we are not holding state governments, in the federation accountable enough. That it's only the national that we are looking. How about the subnationals? Do you think the states are trying, especially at this time? Talking about palliatives, because what most of them have been sharing is the largesse from the federal government. Most states have not really talked about issuing their own or what they are doing for the people. So as we are trying to talk about the federal government, how about holding different state governments accountable for their people?
I think
is it only Tinubu's fault?
Yes, I listened to one news when he called the governors. One of their spokespersons of the governors said that, you see, when he wanted to remove first subsidy, that he didn't call them. That after removal, it was then he called them.
But they've had meetings upon meetings.
That's what he said. He said after he had removed it, he has created a problem. It's now he called them.
Yeah.
If I had called them, I want to remove. Everybody will have plan.
Okay.
But he didn't call them. He just said with his made speech, the thing is gone. It's gone forever. That's not the case.
So that makes
you cannot blame any state governor. You cannot personally. You can't blame them. because they were
so
not
the state governor should stay and be looking at their people. They won't do anything.
If they're not looking, how would did they plan for it? Did they plan for first mover? It was the Tinubu that announced it. They even said he didn't call them to any meeting.
All right. Comrade, you are absorbing the state government.
Yes, for now.
They should not do anything.
No, if they have the means.
The welfare and the security of every government shall be the function. I mean, the welfare and security of every citizen, indigent, shall be the primaries of the government, either at the national or the state. So you are saying because Tinubu didn't call them, the state government should just be looking at their people?
No.
That's what you are inferring.
I'm not saying and that's why Kwara said we're working for only 3 days. Is that a good thing?
Well, and that's why
that's good development for this country.
That's why
workers working for 3 days.
That's why the federal government has decided to support each state with trailer loads of grains and rice. 5 billion naira
and billions of naira
in the kitties for the state government. What will be the responsibility of a state governor at this point in time? If the federal government is trying as much as possible to bring succor, even though they probably, in one way or the other, cause this issue of
I'm not a state governor, but I have to look at the whole thing politically and holistically. Some state governments up to now have not paid 30,000 minimum wage. Do you aware? If that plateau where that man came from, he has not paid 30,000 minimum wage to workers. And look at Osun now. Osun owned them 15 months salary. Before now, and they are paid 2 or 4 months from it. So what do you think? Where will they get money for this subsidy? And they are not called. They are not invited. They didn't dialogue. So you frustrate them. That is what some of them are saying. Work for 3 days. Work for 2 days.
Only the state government has said that.
Not only.
One or two. I think in Edo State.
Edo too. Then many offices in the federal level, they are saying just work for. Even our own office at national level, they say work for. That's what we can do now.
Yeah, they need to get some good rest.
No, it's not a good rest.
So that they
it's the total failure. If you don't know, it's the total failure of the government. Government has failed its people.
That's not the case. Let me bring you to this level at this moment in time. We've been discussing the issue of labor, who labor is, and what they've been doing over the years. Now that labor has begun to affiliate themselves with a political party, don't you think that's where they probably had lost it amongst Nigerians?
Okay. I don't think so. You are referring to the Labour Party.
Yes, please.
Who created the Labour Party? It's not Adam Oshiomhole. I was available at that time. Oshiomhole is one of the set up a committee in which N.U.T was a strong member. Where we floated the Labour Party. Then when Oshiomhole was about to leave, it was our president Umar who was about to succeed him. He even gave us a condition that if he must support N.U.T candidates, the candidates of N.U.T, we have to be paying the workers of Labour Party. What did he do when he wanted to run? He ran to APC. He left Labour. He was the architect of the Labour Party. Go to anywhere. N.U.T was the one funding it. Because he said if we hand over to us, we have to be funding it. So it is not. We only started.
You are saying it's not new.
Yes, it's not even new. Labour Party. We didn't. Personally, I didn't belong to the Labour Party. I'm for good governance. Anybody that did well, I support that fellow. Anybody that do well for people, for citizenry, that's good governance. So Labour is for that. It's not that we are afflicted to or tied to the apron of the Labour Party. No.
That the Labour movement has always been partisan.
No. We are not partisan. Oshiomhole started it because he copied some of the advanced countries. But now, what did he do? When they wanted to run, he ran to APC. He left the Labour Party. So we can't say we are partisan. If he could run to APC and win the governorship election there, and he abandoned us.
Yeah, but
he
has left the leadership before you ran. Yes.
Yeah, he has left. Immediately left.
Yes.
He now immediately left. He now ran
for governorship and ran for governorship.
Why did he go? Well, if you started something, this is a party, and you don't believe in it, and that's the major problem of our political system in this country. We don't have leaders of the parties. We don't have charismatic leaders of the parties. So that's one of the problems. If you have the leaders of the parties, and only the time of Awolowo, Some of us now we want to go. We see what happened. And when Awolowo now, the policy now will be kind to Awolowo before you do anything. But now they are just doing things, even the subsidy governors.
All right.
You see that the case.
Comrade, let me just look at this way here. What state are you from, sir?
I'm from Osun State.
You're from Osun State.
Exactly.
Well, comrade.
Yes. And the chief.
Peradventure, sometime maybe 2026 now, a party comes to you that you should come and be governor of the state. Will you say because you are a comrade, you will not want to contest? You will not take that opportunity?
If you're interested.
If you're interested.
During the time when Yola was talking about to come in, I want to say the Labour Party came to my office. It was here. They said they wanted me to run. It was this man from Igbo side. Wachuko, I don't know, but by that time was the chairman. He said them to me. They wanted me to go and run. And I said, you have to be realistic. What did I have? You may know people may like you, but Nigerian system is different system. I now asked him, how many billion did you bring to me? They said, how many billion? I said, did you bring 10 billions? I said, if you brought 10 billions, I will get, if I upset from my job, because they can allow me. I will put 5 billion in my own account. Use 5 billion now to go and buy cars and everything. They say, we can use name. In this country, you don't use name. You don't use this thing. If you don't have money, it has been monetized. That's
you supporting money politics?
No, it has been like that.
Or is that the reality?
It has been like that. You have, at times now, when I listen to TUNDE, the way you analyze things, I say, this man is a gem. But will they allow you to run for ordinary something in your state? They will not allow you.
But you have not answered the question, comrade.
No, I've answered it.
Will you run or not?
I said I don't have one without to do it.
Okay. But if you had it, will you?
No, the fact is, if you want to do it, not with this present system.
So you won't?
The present system, I won't.
Okay.
By that time, I get it. In fact, in my old office now, if you check it now, the form they brought from Abuja, it's in my office. I just look it down. I said, you see, one needs to be realistic, and I wanted one of my friends. I want one of my friends too, who ran for governorship. That is the former head of service of Osun. You know, we were good friends and this thing. By that time, he ran under Gani party. I said, you see, this system, you are no. You are this thing, everybody know, but the system does not favor you. Gani himself ran for presidency. And this is a man that could transform this country. This is a man that could do things that we like.
All right.
But did they allow him?
All right, comrade. You know, we'll be talking about labor movement and the strike action, the warning strike action today and tomorrow. And then we'll try to establish connections with some of the comrades in other states. We want to go on a short break right now. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. You know, it's about Nigeria. It's about the Nigerian people, the welfare of the workers, the welfare of the Nigerian people, those that are civil servants and those that are not. You know, where does this leave Nigeria? Comrade has been speaking, of course he's a chief, and he has been speaking on that. He's for the warning strike. He even said they should have added a protest. But the DSS at this time are speaking against protest. They didn't mention NLC, by the way, but they said there are some persons that are planning that, and that they or the security agencies will not have that. The conversation will continue after the short break. It's still Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Please stay with us.
The Korean War of 1950 to 1953 pitched North and South Korea against each other in response to intrigues by nations beyond their border with different interests from those canvassed by the two brother nations. The Korean War had all the nuances of an external conflict induced by powers that were interested in subjugating North and South Korea. Japan had leveraged on its military power to annex Korea in 1900 and imposed a military union that did not sit well with the citizens. Japan not only lost its war of conquest against Korea, all its powers were obliterated by the effect of the World War II. The end of World War II got Korea divided into two nations along 38 parallel lines by the instrumentality of the United States of America and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. The Korean War lapsed into a Cold War when it stopped the prying eyes of external forces into the internal affairs of a nation now divided along its north and southern territories. Western Spring Television identifies the Korean War as a major event in history.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever expounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast. Detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
James Ajibolaige was a lawyer who obtained his first degree in classics from Nigeria's premier University of Ibadan. Born September 13, 1930, the orator and the polyglot spoke impeccable English, French, Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba languages. His fine diction placed him among classical orators and public speakers like Cicero, the Roman orator. This attribute earned him the prefix Cicero of Esauke. He authored Kaduna Boy, an autobiography, Detainee's Diary, Constitution, and The People, among 6 other books. Bolaige was a colorful politician, elected governor of Oyo State in 1979 and appointed a federal minister in 1999. He was a pioneer founder of Afenifere, the Yoruba social, cultural, and political group. He invested his political sagacity to propel the group to the height of political leadership and decision-making in the southwest of Nigeria. Bolaige was assassinated on the 23rd December 2001. His murderers are yet to be apprehended till today. Western Spring Television identifies Bolaige as a watershed character in history. The British Empire was the largest and the most powerful in the world. At its zenith, the empire embraced a quarter of the Earth's land surface and imposed her imperial majesty's rule on more than 458 million peoples across nations and continents. The empire took off with overseas possessions and trading posts established by England, spread over 3 million kilometers between 16th and early 18th century. Like previous empires, the British Empire began to crumble on its weight of overstretched territories and growing unrest in our various colonies. Today, the British Empire no longer exists. What is in place is the Commonwealth of Nations, a loose association of sovereign states which recognize the King of England as the titular head. Western Spring Television identifies the British Empire as a watershed empire in history.
All right, you're welcome back. And, on the home stretch now, talking about the labor issues, their demands from the federal government, the betterment of their members, the welfare of their people and Nigerians in general, which has been, especially the removal of the subsidy on fuel, which has got us here as a people, the pains being experienced by the persons what the government said they will do, and in which the labor in their demands are saying, you have not been doing this. We have not even been seeing signs of you going all the way? That's what we are talking about right now. And we have Comrade and Chief OYENIYI still in the house. And we're rounding it off now. So, Chief, where do we go from here? The labor have started today and tomorrow.
Yes.
We've talked about the implication on the Nigerian economy, the implication on governance, the implication on the people. But then, if nothing is done by the end of the warning strike, for you, where do we go from here? Will we leave Nigeria poorer or richer?
If I may quote Gabonese former president, he said people should make noise for him.
Okay.
I think lost the power.
Mr. Bongo.
Yes. I think what NSC wanted to do is to make noise. People will know to the whole world that there's a problem in Nigeria. That the government of Nigeria has failed. Or they are failing us.
But that's an extreme statement.
No.
To say the government has failed.
No.
That's
I'm not saying they failed. They are failing. They are failing us. They are failing the citizens.
In what way?
Look at the hardship. The hardship outside. People could not feed again.
Because of the removal of subsidy.
They could not feed again. Things are very hard.
It's a necessary, transitional pain that the people will experience.
Transitional pain.
Yeah.
The president has stated it. The minister of the economy, minister of finance, and the coordinating minister said that this is a period we will have to just endure. Better days are coming. Shouldn't we endure?
You don't believe that?
You don't believe that? I thank you, Femi.
Yes. You see, one thing with we Nigerians, Africa, we just believe in something that will come. That there will be, this religion sometimes brought us that good days will come.
Don't you believe that?
Yeah, no, I don't believe it. I said we do something. We just have to act. If you don't act, if the Bible says if you don't sow, you don't harvest.
That's the sowing.
Yes.
Government are doing the sowing now.
Isn't it?
We have to see it.
Floating forex.
Okay. If they with what they've realized now, what have they used it for? Tell me.
It's a gradual thing. It's a gradual thing. They have to plan.
According to them, because I read one of the papers that they realized about something billion.
They've saved.
They are not saving.
That's their work.
Is it their own money? It's our own money. They've realized it. No, not saving.
All right.
They've got from people something like 4 billion. What have they used the money for now? Tell me now.
We will see.
100 days.
But where do we go from here?
Where we go from here is that we kept on. You see, the difference between developed country and developed countries is that those are developed country they will continue criticizing their government until they do the right thing.
Comrade, let me ask you.
Until they do the right thing.
Yes.
But in Nigeria, we are just too optimistic. Better days will come. But that will not come until we ask them to do the right thing.
This one is
let them do the right thing.
What are the right things?
The right thing is that they know the right thing. The right thing first is that return the first subsidy.
You think so?
Return the first subsidy. That's the right thing first. Return the exchange rate. Once you do that one, the whole thing will come down. And now the money that
many persons will say
the money you are saying you want to
that the ship are sold already.
Try to refine the refineries, repair it, repair the refineries, let them be working. When they are working, this will go one way. You see, what caused this problem are two things: this exchange rate of naira, and the first subsidy remover. If all those things now are returned, people now will go about. Let us be buying for 200 naira or 250. This will come down.
Comrade, this warning strike today and tomorrow, do you think it enjoys the support of the people?
Which people?
The Nigerian people.
Who are the people that are not suffering now? I don't know, except the politicians. Everybody is suffering.
Now, I'm not talking about the suffering.
Except we are enduring.
Chief, I'm not talking about the suffering. That's palpable. I'm talking about this warning strike. Do you think Nigerians see it as something worthwhile?
No, they have to. They have to.
They have to, but not that they support it.
No, they have to support it. It's for everybody. It's for everybody. They are fighting. Because they are not fighting for themselves. They are not fighting for themselves. What will it gain the NSC? What will it gain the TUC to say we want to go on strike? No. The fact is they want good governance like other developed nations. Once that is done, everybody will enjoy.
Comrade, the TUC seem not to even be supporting this. because we had in the papers yesterday
that
where
support.
That some of the senior staff members in the TUC, you know, it's like a divided house.
No, TUC is not part of NSC.
Yeah, but you know,
they are labor movement.
No.
Union.
You see, it was created out of bitterness because they are the senior civil servants.
But they have been having these conversations together.
But if they don't support, they don't support. They are their own problem.
So
everybody sees them as saboteurs. You know, you don't.
That shows it's with a divided house.
No, it's not.
And also, that's why I'm asking if this warning strike is supported by the people. Because most of the conversations that have been happening, the negotiations that always been the NLC and the TUC.
Well, I'm not aware they didn't support. I didn't know aware. And they did not go to the office.
It was widely reported yesterday.
They did not go to the office. If you're a director, you want to go to the office, nobody will sweep the room for you. Nobody will take the file for you. What will you go there to do?
All right.
So it's as if they are just backing out on paper.
All right.
They can't walk.
Comrade,
no gate man will open the gate.
My final question for you, as we close to him gradually now, is the states, especially in the last few months, have gotten quite a portion of the FARC, that's the federal allocation, every month. Most of them have, in fact, all the states have gotten what you could term what they have not received in the past, something huge, more than the usual.
The allocation?
Yes, the allocations.
Yes.
And so some will say, because I asked about the state, responsibility in all of these. You said Tinubu didn't call them to meeting, but then the people.
That's what you said, you.
Yes, the people. That's one of them saying that. But then the people have first the responsibility. The state governments are closer to the people. They have been getting money, sharing something that they have not gotten before. So some will say they have money. So how will they be responsible for the people? Are you saying if an outsider causes a problem, the husband, the father of a particular house should not do his bit? Is that what you're saying?
You see, I'm collecting some states. But for Osun, where I stay here, I know Osun is paying the old arrears. It's paying workers owned arrears of 15 months. Or 30
That's the
months.
promise they made.
No, and he has been paying it.
Yeah.
If he's paying that, and doing some rules, I think he's doing it for masses. He's doing for masses. But some states, they don't pay area, they don't do things. Where are they using that money for? What are they using it for?
The palliative that has been given to them, the 2 billion received by every state, at least Osun State, the sharing that has begun, is Osun doing well for you? Are you monitoring?
Well, I'm not part of government. The fact is, but why I'm interested in this government is that if a government is worker friendly, somebody now come to say, somebody hold you 15 months salary and I will pay it. I think that fellow needs, we just have to commend him.
Comrade, so Osun is doing well. For you, Osun State government is doing well. Right?
Not on palliative, but he's doing well.
In governance.
In governance.
All right, thank you.
He's doing the road. He's doing this thing. So personally, I only know, let me state it. I only know his brother. He's his brother. He was my friend.
Yeah.
We were good friends. When he was a governor, I was secretary of N.U.T. And we met in Abuja. But I don't know. But what he's doing now?
Is that the love you are transferring?
No. It's because of what he's doing.
Okay.
What he's doing now? If somebody hold you 15 months salary, another government came, he didn't pay couple. I look at it this way.
All right.
And somebody came now and start payment. Not only that, he now did the promotion of workers, and he affected it financially.
Chief, are you benefiting from the payments of pensions and arrears as well?
Pension? No, I'm not. I'm not the state pensioner. No. I'm a national staff.
Oh, because just like FEMI acts, that's probably.
I was a deputy general, so I don't get anything from Osun at all.
Maybe because of the love you have for the brother. And
no, it's because I was watching him and he's doing fine. What is doing fine? We have to. That's what we call go.
And you know, when we talked about palliative, and Chief said he has not seen people that collected. Yes, but I'm very sure you might not know. You are a chief. You're a big man.
Have you collected?
You might not know. No. We asked the question here. Is your own to answer?
It's mispriority.
Yeah.
No, you don't do that. I don't know. How do you want to share? How do you want to share? Have a congo of rice to people? Can that solve problem? For God's sake,
it's called palliative. It's called palliative.
Instead of addressing the real issue.
All right.
What happened? What happened to the fuel subsidy? Let us address it.
Chief, we still get to have you back at some point to have other conversation. Thank you.
We'd like to thank our guest this beautiful Tuesday morning, Comrade WALE OYENIYI, former N.U.T General Secretary.
He's our chief.
Okay, Chief. It's been an honor. Thank you most sincerely for taking time out to be with us this morning.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And I want to say that when I had today, I have to remark it.
Oh my goodness.
Who was my good friend. Very versatile. When I heard his name, I thought you had the sound, but you are doing fine like him.
Thank you.
Maybe today has reincarnated. You know, it's pathology. Today do.
Thank you.
So you are welcome. You are doing fine.
Thank you so much.
The work. And
thank you.
My brother too now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right thing.
That's how we wrap it up on the show this beautiful day. A big thank you to you for being there. Please, as much as there is a warning strike, it doesn't call for us to go out to do irrational things, destroy government properties, and what have you. There isn't a protest. It's just a warning strike. We'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll definitely keep you abreast as to what is happening virtually around Nigeria concerning this strike. Morning Spring will draw the curtain at this time. Thank you for being there with us. We'll be back for the midweek edition tomorrow. And God willing, you will be there. We'll be here. Tunde IDOWU is my name at Irresistible TD on X.
Of course, thank you for being part of the program. God bless Nigeria. FEMI is my name. We'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.